Crank up the volume and get ready for real-world bird hunting by listening to the Wingmen podcast by Eastman's. Now your host, Todd Helms.
Hey guys, welcome to episode number 51 of the Wingmen podcast. And today I have Brian Tucker with Hi Mountain Seasonings down in Riverton, Wyoming. Dude, thanks for being on the podcast. How you been?
Great, man. Always good to talk to you guys. Enjoy, visiting, hunting stories, everything. This is always a treat.
No, absolutely. I'm glad we got you into the 21st century, on Zoom.
Yeah, right.
And this thing seemed to be working pretty flawlessly. Watch now, I totally jinxed it, and it'll lock up on us. But oh man, whatever. So what do you guys got going on down in Riverton, man? What's the good word?
Just kind of plugging through the craziness of everyday life like everyone else right now. We've been going nonstop for over 2 years now and come out with a few new products. We're offering 3-pack bundles now on our website. So
I saw that.
If you're not quite sure what you want to try with our rubs and all that, we have a kind of discounted rub pack set up so you can take it, try it. Perfect time of year. People are camping pretty soon, going to go on vacations. Just pick one up and take it with, and you're pretty much covered for anything you're going to cook.
Turkey season.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, we're looking at next week, the opener over the mountain in Sheridan, Wyoming. But as far as us goes, we're not going to actually get after them until about the 14th of April. That's going to be our first trip. But dude, let's back up a quick second for people who maybe aren't familiar with Hi Mountain Seasonings. We've been a partner with you guys. Wingmen and Eastman's has been a partner with Hi Mountain Seasonings for a long time. And we love the relationship we have with you guys. You make awesome products. But tell us about the company. What is it? What maybe if people have never heard about this, tell us about it.
No, so it's, we pride ourselves on like that old Western type flavors, it's how the company started, especially when it comes to jerky. Making your own jerky at home is the bread and butter of the company, which started everything, 1991. So we're 31 years in now.
Wow.
The original owners who started everything bought a seasoning roaster, started it in their kitchen, 30 plus years later, we're over 200 products all over the world, all over the US. If there's something you want to do with your venison, wild game, turkey, anything like that, or even your domestic products or vegetables, we've got something for everybody. And it's just been every year, it just seems to grow a little bit more. And everyone wants to know where their meat came from, the do-it-yourselfers, the home processors, all the above. We got a little bit for every single person out there. If you've never tried it before, our instructions make it so easy. They're so cut and dry that when I started, when I was 19 years old, trying to process my own game, I was able to figure it out. And it's that simple. So,
yeah, no, I've been using Hi Mountain Seasonings even before the relationship that we have with you guys now. And right. I think you're probably most well known for your DIY jerky kits.
100%.
If you look at social media, that's your Instagram handle, Hi Mountain Jerky. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I know that people, especially around in our little enclave, dude, they make jerky out of goose, they make jerky out of duck, they make jerky out of turkeys, they make jerky out, you name it, not to mention other wild game or, like you said, beef. But it's super, super easy. And I've actually done a couple videos for you guys, highlighting some of your products, from making jerky to snack sticks. You guys have it all. And I don't think there's literally a time when I cook something when I'm not probably using a Hi Mountain Seasonings product. I'm doing antelope backstraps on the grill tonight for supper, and the garlic pepper's already set out.
Oh, that's just it. It's one of those, we've got something for everything, and like you were talking about the jerkies, being well known. I actually did an interview last week, and there are people who do fish jerky with our kits. They'll take salmon, they'll take trout, they'll take those types of fish. They will follow the instructions, swap out the venison, wild game, turkey for fish, do it the same. And there are people who absolutely love it.
I bet that sounds really, really good.
Yeah. Yeah, you never thought, never in my wildest dreams would I've ever even thought of trying fish jerky till I worked here. And then there's customers who just get the wild hair that try it and they rave about it.
I'm gonna have to do that. I'm definitely gonna have to do that. I'm so busy making. I've got a little bit of duck and goose left in the freezer. In fact, no, I don't have any duck left.
Okay.
We've pretty much eaten that all and processed it all. But I've got a couple bags of goose, and that's definitely going to go to jerky because, man, my kids eat jerky like it's going out of style. And your guys' kits are just, man, it's just like follow directions, boom, done.
Yeah, it makes my job super easy. I won't lie. I mean, the fact that the quality is there, the ease of use of product, I mean, it can sell itself for the most part. If you're looking for something, like I said, we have 25 different jerky kits that we offer. So in 14 different flavors. Yeah.
Wow. That's incredible. So you talk about your job. What, to quote one of my favorite 90s or early 2000s movies, what would you say you do here?
Maybe a little bit of everything. My official title is National Sales Manager. So I'm big in sales, handle a lot of corporate accounts, customer service, phone calls, just, people having issues with stuff. They call us in here at the office after hours. We got our 1-800 number goes to a call center. I get it at home, to help people walk through their kits, product development, product testing, marketing, media, like working with you guys. I mean, a little bit of everything out there. If we're slower, I'll go pack packages and shipping or helping our production department. It's just kind of, I'm or a multi-trick pony, I guess you could call it.
You're not a one-trick pony. Absolutely. Well,
no.
We came down and filmed part of a video with you guys. We got together with you a couple of years ago and did a duck hunt on a local watershed and had a good time. Had a great time, actually. It turned out to be it's one of my favorite videos we've ever done. And then we came down and you guys let us come in and opened up the facility and gave us the big tour and showed us everything. And I was shocked, Brian, that you guys get so much done with so few people. You got your facility's big, but you're like, we walked in one room and we're packaging spices in there and seasoning mix, right? And then they run through an order, get it packaged, and then everybody shuffles into the next room and starts packaging it ready for shipping. And you had a kid in there. You had a kid in there that was like the box master, man. He could produce boxes faster than anybody I've ever seen. It's on the video. You guys got to go see it.
He loved, and he would put on a show and we'd take tours through. It was always fun having him on the line for sure. We'd bring people through, just like, watch this. He knew like it's showtime when people would come in. And it was a great experience for sure. So you guys will have to come back down. We've actually repurposed our old jerky building. We're in the process of making an entire bottling facility just for bottled seasonings, nothing else.
No kidding.
Yep. Those lines from the rub bottles, the medium burger bottles, small shakers, are starting to pick up traction for kind of year round because people cook year round, obviously, not just hunting seasons. Those are starting to really blow the doors off on sales. And we have a whole facility now dedicated just to bottles that we're in the process of doing a remodel on.
Definitely going to have to come down and do that because, some of your venison rub, for example, I think is super versatile. And I use that thing on duck breast, I used it on sandhill cranes that I brought back from Oklahoma and cook it just like you'd cook a venison steak or even a beef steak, a ribeye for that matter, season it up, hot, fast, ready to go. That seasoning is so versatile. I use that stuff. I mean, I think the last time I said, hey, dude, I need some more seasoning, you sent me like 4 bottles. I think I got one. I think I got one left.
So we'll have to get another order headed your way.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of our product, though. Like you said, venison rub. It's a perfect example. It's so versatile and everything. Just because it says it's for one product doesn't mean you can't use it on another. I mean, we've got people, chefs, who will take our salmon rub and they use it on chicken.
Yeah. I've done that. I've used it on pheasants actually, and it's really good. And I made a brine out of that rub.
Oh, really? Okay.
All I did was it's not really a brine, but it's just an olive oil, like a marinade.
Okay. Marinade. There you go.
I mixed a couple tablespoons of that with, half a cup or a cup of olive oil and soaked those pheasant breasts in there and then grilled them just like you'd grill chicken. And dude, the flavoring from that salmon rub is so good. I put the trail dust on eggs, fry eggs in the morning, sprinkle the trail dust on them.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah. Try, you have any of our rib rub, or do I need to send you some?
I do. I actually have 5 or 6 bottles of rib rub.
Try that on eggs. I'm not even kidding.
Really?
Yep. It's got a touch of sweetness with a little bit of savory heat. Yeah, you don't think it works, but I tried it one day just to try it, and yeah, it works.
I'm gonna do that. Yeah, because it's I'm always looking for a way to spice up eggs a little bit, make them better. But oh man, that is, yeah. If you guys listen to this, if you haven't checked out highmountainjerky.com, you need to go do it. You need to find these guys on Instagram. You guys are always throwing out ideas on Instagram, Facebook. You know, you're always throwing out recipe ideas and featuring customer recipes that have been sent to you. And your products are top of the line, whether or not you want to make jerky, snack sticks, summer sausage, or you're just seasoning up breasts and, or meat in the kitchen to cook.
Right.
I said breasts. I meant, duck and goose breasts, obviously, but
we're following you.
Yeah, you're picking up what I'm laying down. So
right, exactly. And like I said, I appreciate you saying that, because it's 100% like, no joke. That makes everyone's job here, not just my job, everyone's job easier. Our pride in quality and efficiency and just the ease of use of our product, I think, is what really makes us stand out.
Yeah, I would agree with you, Brian, because having the first time I ever made my own DIY jerky, I don't remember when it was a long time ago now, and it was goose jerky. I DIY'd a bunch of goose jerky for actually to go elk hunting, take to elk camp, and used a Hi Mountain Seasonings kit. I think it was probably the original kit. That's still one of my favorites, is the original.
It's the product that started it all.
Yeah, and it's so simple. I mean, it's so simple that a caveman like me can do it. It's like, cut up the meat, follow the directions, and you're good to go. I hate to poach a saying, but it's true. And I think
you're right.
I think that's one of the things that makes your product so popular, is that it's not intimidating, because people think, oh, jerky, I don't know how to do that, or wild game. What do you do with the geese you shoot? How do you cook duck? We're constantly answering those questions. We're constantly trying to show people, look, it's just lean red meat. It's all it is. It's all it is. You can do it any way that you could do it. Use a piece of lean beef. You could do the same thing with duck or goose.
Exactly. And I mean, and you're going to cook it the same way too, talking about those. People are so afraid of wild game, especially with ducks and geese. I found they want to cook it to where it's chalky, livery, overcooked. Oh. If you're not doing jerky or sausage, medium rare. You've got to do it medium rare.
Medium rare at most. Because there's flavors in that meat that come out when you cook it past medium rare that are off-putting. And people don't realize that. They're like, oh, I don't want any red in that because it's wild. I don't know where.
Yes.
It tastes like meat if you cook it like meat,
Exactly. I mean, and it's honestly, wild meat's going to be better for you because it's not going to have all these steroids or hormones and stuff injected into these animals that you can buy at the store. And again, the wild game flavor everyone, takes with antelope, duck, goose, venison, it's because it's overcooked or it's mishandled in the field.
Right.
It's not the animal, it's the field prep that has been, whether it's just lack of knowledge, for whatever reason, or overcooking it. Like I always make the joke, you're killing it a second time by overcooking it. And
that is spot on, dude.
And you are, and then it just ruins it, and everyone has a bad experience. I can remember growing up, and I mean, and it's no fault of my mother. She didn't know. She did grow up in a hunting type family. My dad shot an antelope. She cooked it to where it was that livery chalky flavor. I hated antelope my entire childhood growing up. I was like, Dad, never shoot one of those again if that's what it's going to taste like, And then as I got older and started hunting myself and experimenting, I was like, wait a minute, this is what I'm missing out on.
Yeah.
And it's like, you figure it out. And it's just, again, it's just that natural fear of something that's wild. But what are wild animals eating? I mean, deer and antelope, they're out in the same fields as your cows. I mean, anything like that. And it's just, everyone has their own unique flavor and their own style. and they're all complement each other. And that's the nice thing with Hi Mountain too. We don't want to cover the flavor. We want to complement the taste of the meat,
Absolutely.
especially with wild game. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and you guys do, I haven't, obviously it's a seasoning. You use too much of it, and it's going to taste like the seasoning, but
Right.
I don't know, man. I've been a fan of you guys' stuff for a really long time. And like I said, we've been partnered together for quite a while now, quite a few years. And it's a partnership that I cherish, both on the Wingmen side and the Eastman side of things. And it's a partnership that you guys produce a product that I use. I was using it before all of this happened to me, and I still use it to this day. I'd be using it regardless. And so I can't speak highly enough about it. You can find it anywhere. You can get it online. You can get it at big retailers. You can get it at we can get it here at the local grocery store. It's sporting goods stores. You can get it just about anywhere. And so, guys, if you've got some extra goose or duck laying around in your freezer, or an old turkey breast you haven't done anything with, get it out, trim up maybe the freezer burn, trim that off so you get that off there, slice it up, make some jerky out of it, maybe make some snack sticks, do whatever. Look up some of these seasonings. You want to eat some goose breast or duck breast, or you got a ribeye or a sirloin from the grocery store, sprinkle this stuff on there. It's as, like you said, it's as good on domestic as it is on wild. So
And that's the beauty of the product. We're a hunting based company originally, so everyone thinks of like hunting and fishing when they talk to us. They don't realize like we have a gourmet burger line. You can make burger out of a lot of animals, but burger, 99% of what people are going to eat are going to be from a cow. And we have lines, specific to that too. We're not trying to exclude anybody. We want to include even people who don't eat meat. They're great on vegetables too. It's super fun. It's versatile. Experimenting with some products here that aren't necessarily designed originally what they were for, and figuring out, oh, wait a minute, that's awesome on in that application. That's the beauty of where I work. I can't complain at all. I should be 500 pounds because of this, but yeah.
Well, I'm not gonna lie to you, you've gained at least 50 since I met you. I can't imagine the food that circulates around that office, dude.
Oh, I literally have to get up at about every 2 hours and make myself get up away from my desk from working on orders or stuff like that, and just stretch my legs and not just be sedentary. And it's, especially in the fall time, holidays. Oh my gosh, man. It's been,
I would bet there's good eats there all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious. That is awesome. But, well, dude, you kind of are a man of many talents too, by the way. Where this national sales manager gig at Hi Mountain, you were a high school shop teacher.
I used to be, years ago. I was, Mm-hmm.
And you're still a basketball official with the Wyoming High School Athletic Association.
Correct. Yep.
You're a busy guy.
I am. Well, and they add into that too. We, my wife and I own a small little cattle ranch too. So we're in about 30. Nothing huge. We're in about 30 head of cows, but it's another venture, another way to make a little bit of money and keep me busy. And the 50 pounds I gain here, I can burn off there. So.
Yeah, boy. Yeah, ranching make you skinny if you do it right.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Yeah, we're in the middle of calving season right now, and then we're redoing parts of our house. Got a little one on the way. It's always something going on here, So.
Busy guy. Yep. You know what you're having?
Little girl. So
girl.
We are. Yep. I'm in over my head for sure. I'm already going to be down. Yeah. Right. But
you'll have to get a male dog just to add some testosterone back into the house.
We got 2 male dogs in the house, so I think we're going to even it out a little bit. But I think it's one more. It's the next learning curve in my life. Just to kind of little boy. Sure. There's things to learn there, but obviously growing up, I would want them to do other things we do now. It's going to be hopefully daddy's little girl that the whole shotgun cleaning on the on the porch and all that stuff, those jokes have already started. So,
dude, you've seen what I deal with. I got 2 little girls, and they're they go everywhere with me. They go the duck blind, they go goose hunting. I mean, they're, I think my generation, I'm about, how old are you?
35.
Yeah, see, I'm about a decade over. I'll be 44 in a few weeks here. Man, I kind of feel like my generation was one of the last that was brought up, like hunting's like that women don't belong at the duck blind, or
right.
that sentiment was still pretty strong when I was a kid, where girls didn't really hunt. It was a boy thing. It was a guy thing. And man, that's changed, and I'm glad it has, because
me too.
My wife loves to hunt. She loves to fish. My kids love to hunt. They love to fish. Obviously, they're too little to actually participate, but they go, and it's 6 degrees outside on this winter, and my 6-year-old's like, Daddy, I'm thinking, Daddy, I'm cold. Daddy, I'm cold. Daddy, can I have another donut? It's like, not cold. Daddy, there's birds. Get down. It's like, get them out there. Get them involved, man. You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. She's gonna be your little buddy. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to it big time. I mean, I think you're right on the head with that. About the whole stigma of it. It's a guy thing for sure. Like my wife loves to hunt. She she moved to Wyoming from Minnesota, killed a bigger mule deer than I ever have. But she enjoys it too. And it's just, I think there's what's they're saying. I've seen that girls hunt too. There's like a clothing line, I think, that goes along with it, and it's very true. And you know what? Even if she doesn't hunt, whatever she's passionate about, as long as she's passionate about something, I'm all for it. It's healthy, happy, and just, that's all you can ask for. So.
Yep. No, I agree. Somebody said, oh, they're, as long as they're healthy and happy. And I'm like, well, I'm going to love her no matter what.
Right.
Even if she's not those things, I'm still going to love her. So,
right.
Yeah, man, before we get all turned into sappy dads, we got to turn this conversation 180, but, oh man.
Good with you, man. Yeah, for sure. It's kind of interesting. You were talking about turkey hunting a little while ago, and then that duck hunt that we had on some local water. I floated that water. When did I send you those photos? A week or two ago?
Yeah.
Those big grounds. I think we must have come across 200 or 300 turkeys.
Really?
Yeah. And the toms were fighting already. We could watch them from the boat on the bank. They were just kicking the crap out of each other.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that time of year. I mean, they've been establishing that pecking order for a few weeks now, but yeah, I've never seen a lot of turkeys down there. There's always some around,
right,
but I've never seen a bunch. So that's crazy that you saw that many.
Yeah, that's the most by far I've ever seen. I floated that river, I don't know how many times, in my lifetime. And that was the most turkeys we've seen by far. I mean, it was several stretches up and down that river. It's not like it was one flock that was moving. We even saw, they had to be drakes, but like 4 of them fly from shore to shore and barely make it across, inches above the water. Just, yeah, it was kind of cool, to see, because we were wondering if one was going to end up in the drink and see how they got out. But,
yeah, they fly a lot better than people give them credit for. That's for sure. But oh man, so are you planning on getting away, or has the wife got you to do some turkey hunting? Or has the wife got you nailed down?
Probably no turkey hunting for this guy this year. We've got a few things going on with the little one on the way. Some buddies and I, we had a dear friend of ours pass away last year. We're working on a memorial fishing tournament that's going to take place in Idaho in May. So we're working on that as well. Got a fishing trip planned right, the month before the baby's due. Kind of my last hurrah. Going to go to Keyhole Reservoir, see if we can just get away for a few days. But other than that, a lot of stuff here. Yeah. So you guys said you're going to go over to the Sheridan area?
No. That area over there is kind of funny. If you've got access to private on that over there, it can be lights out. But once those turkeys start to disperse and they get up into the mountains, man, they can be really, really hard to find. And the way the land ownership plays out over there, most of those turkeys spend the bulk of their time on private property.
Well, they're not known.
Yeah. No. I mean, there's public for sure, but there's not a lot of public out over there that holds birds. And so, you look at it and go, well, with gas at $4 something a gallon, and time being what it is,
Oh my gosh.
you
Yeah.
know, it's kind of like, well, let's hedge our bets and do something, figure something else out. So we're going to do another Montana hunt this year.
Okay. Okay.
I'm not going to divulge a lot of details on that. We'll keep that under wraps, but there's another Montana hunt on the way. That'll be our first turkey hunt of the year, so I'm pretty stoked about that.
That'll be cool.
We're going to try to do something a little different that we've never done before. Like I said, I'm not going to get too far off in the weeds on it, but it's going to be a kind of a collaboration with Beyond the Grid and what Dan Picard does. And
okay.
That'll be fun. We'll see what we can do there. And then I'm headed for a vacation, family vacation, the end of April to Iowa. And yeah. And I'm gonna go hang out with my brother. And I'm not filming that one. That one's just for us.
Just go have fun.
Yeah, that's gonna be a family deal, and probably do Iowa. And then if we have time, he's really close to the Minnesota border. And so we'll swing up in there if we have time, pick up a couple tags and see if we can kill a couple birds in Minnesota too. So and then come back and we'll still have lots of general season in Wyoming left to hunt.
Right.
So,
right.
But yeah, with time constraints and with, like I said, with fuel costing what insane. It costs right now,
I drive a diesel. It's
Oh, yeah, man. I don't see a lot of guys traveling at these costs. Not like they have. Like last year was insane. There were dudes all over the countryside.
Well, they had more time
fishing,
too.
Recreating. Yeah. They were sick of being cooped up from COVID. They were sick of what the world was going on in the world. They're like, we're getting out. And there were people everywhere I went. Some of the honey holes that I have tucked away around the state of Wyoming, I hit later in the season. There was no birds left. There were no birds on them. There was just a lot of hunting pressure. I'm not complaining because it's great. I'm glad people are getting out.
And it's good for us, but I get what you're saying. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But I don't know if we're going to see that same impact this year with gas being what it is.
Well, I just don't see how people can. Like I said, I drive a diesel. That thing, we're looking at buying a smaller gas vehicle for me to drive. And what I can save by literally not driving that truck every month will pay for the car, pay for the insurance and the fuel, and I'll still pocket over $100. It's nuts. And it's unfortunate where we're at, but I think it's really going to have an impact on hunting and stuff too, because ultimately a lot of those are going to run into freight lines. So costs to hunt as well, not just the fuel to get there, I'm afraid are going to start to go up as well. And it's just kind of the spiral that we're in with everything that's going on in the world right now. And what changes, something's got to give for people to sustain not just a livelihood, but any sort of like hobbies, interests, stuff like that,
No, I completely agree with you. I think it's at that precipice where if it's not in your backyard, you're probably not going to be doing much of it,
That's
and for the average guy, I mean, there's still a lot of folks out there that they can afford that, they can do it, they can go, and good for them. I'm happy for it. But I do think you hit on something there where you're going to see those costs go across more than just gas. That price of fuel is going to continue to affect shipping. It's going to continue to affect the supply chain, where it's like, I'd love to go turkey hunting, but man, I can't even find ammunition, or I can't, whatever it might be. I get questions every single day in my inbox like, hey, this is the only ammo I could find, what do you think? And I'll be honest, I just try to be honest with people. I love shooting my TSS turkey loads from Federal Premium. Absolutely love it. I think they're the best thing ever as a turkey load.
Yep.
But if you can't get your hands on them, there's other loads that you can shoot. It's like grab a box of federal pheasant loads, go out and shoot. You just got to get them closer.
Yeah,
that'll work.
Yeah, like I've got buddies at Federal, and no lie, they have their machines going 24 hours a day right now, cannot keep up, and they have over $1 billion in back orders.
Wow.
not million, but a billion. And it's insane. So, but what I'm also afraid of too, with gas prices going up, these costs are going to get passed on to the consumer. So they're going to be either priced out of the market and they're going to be so high people don't want to purchase them. But then also we're going to run into the freight line cost where, manufacturers, producers can be like, well, I don't want to pay that much for my materials. We're just not going to produce that item because we're not going to pay the freight cost, and then it's not available anyways. So I mean, there's two ends of the spectrum here with not much of a middle.
Right. No, it's definitely it's a bad deal, man. How has it affected you guys? You've been able, it seems like I still see a lot of your product. You guys are still able to fill orders, but I mean, what does that look like for you?
Yeah, it really did hit us hard last year, especially like our summer sausage kits. We had an order from January of 2021 for roughly 150,000 summer sausage casings. We did not feel that we'd get those until about 2 months ago. Did we get those casings on order? Yep. So we had to find backup suppliers that could fill a little bit here, a little bit there. And yeah, and then cost of some of our stuff, unfortunately, not everything's made in the US. We had to basically sign agreements saying we're going to pay whatever you ship to us at whatever cost, or we don't get it without knowing the cost.
Right.
And for sure. So everything right now is in good standing with us because we've kind of slowed down to a normal time of year for us. But I can only imagine some of these bigger companies too, on just trying to get stuff in that.
Yeah. I think it's been that way across the board. I was just curious to know what it looked like for you guys.
Oh yeah, I mean, it created some massive rollover for sales numbers from year to year, to where springtime's a little bit slower on like the sausage and jerky type stuff, but some of that stuff rolled over because of back orders. It didn't ship until the springtime, so it kind of had a little bit of a skew on how things actually played out. So
right.
Mm-hmm.
That is wild. That is absolutely wild. Yeah, I don't know. Like you said, gas is one thing. Cost of ammo's up. Cost of everything is more expensive and harder to get. And I think guys are going to see it. They're going to see it at the restaurant. They're going to see it at the bar. They're going to see it at the hotel. They're going to. The turkey hunt that you guys did a few years back, you did with Scott Reekers and Brandon Mason, and you guys did a tent camp, like an elk style camp. And I think you're going to see more and more of that, where guys are just like going out, not doing the hotel. We're going to find a piece of public ground for dispersed camping, or we're going to stay in a campground, which good luck getting a spot in a campground because demand for that's through the roof too.
Yep.
So I don't know. Definitely, I guess the point of all of that is being creative.
Yeah.
Being creative and being flexible in your hunt plans, because man, you've got to be able to pivot pretty quick.
That's no lie, because it's so many things can change that fast, like you're talking about, and then the cost of the whole thing is really going to be prohibitive to people. Like you said, that's a great point of the elk style tent camp on public ground. You're definitely, I would imagine, going to see more of that for those guys that are hardcore enough. Like, they're not going to let this stop us. They're going to come up with new ideas on how to make it work. And so then restaurants and stuff, because of cost being higher, they're not eating out. They're going to be grilling. They're going to be cooking. I mean, there's people are going to definitely be emptying freezers and stuff like that for sure. So.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, and great for you guys eating out of the freezer. Gotta have some Hi Mountain Seasonings to spice that stuff up. And I'm not trying to, and I'm not trying to be doom and gloom here. I don't want to sound like that. I'm just thinking. Yeah, it's kind of a realistic thing, and I guess my point is don't. I guess the message behind that is don't not go hunting, don't not get out, go hunting, go do that. But you may have to be
hunting holes.
Yeah, exactly. Great. No. But go hunt, get out there, keep doing it, but you might have to be creative. Just because you can't rent a cabin or do a verbo, you can still get out. I mean, I don't know about you, but I've dirtbagged an awful lot of my life and slept in the back of my truck on a lot of hunts over the
I was
years.
just gonna say, everyone's got a vehicle. I mean, whether you sleep in the cab or in the bed, I mean, there's an option there for sure. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I sleep underneath it. I mean, you can definitely do that. You could definitely do that. And turkey season, man, the weather can be turkey season in Wyoming is a crapshoot, as you know. It can be like 80 degrees one day and 14 and snow in the next. I had a hunt a few years back. We did a buddy was getting married that summer and didn't want to do a traditional bachelor party, wanted to do a turkey hunt.
Okay.
4 or 5 of us went turkey hunting, and it's like we're gonna camp. We're gonna tent camp, and we're gonna do this right and have a good time. And we hunted the first 3 days, and it was hot. It was hot during the day and sunny. And dude, we woke up the 4th morning, and it was like 6 degrees, and there was 8 inches of this wet, heavy snow on the ground.
Welcome to Wyoming.
Exactly, and it was.
I bet the birds shut up.
Yeah, we didn't go out that day. We were getting our butts kicked anyway. It was bird numbers were a little down that year, and it was tough hunting. And we ended up going to the restaurant and getting breakfast and drying out, and then packing it up and going home. But
sounds like a good idea for that morning for sure.
Well, that was about the best option that we had. But yeah, I guess the whole point of that is you just don't know what's going to be thrown at you. But that hunt obviously sticks in my mind, made an impression. We didn't even kill a bird.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and that's another thing too, like with hunting, just because you don't have to harvest something for the hunt to be successful.
Right.
Which is something that I think there's a lot of people have that misconception out there. Like, oh, I mean, it's again, like you just talked about going with your daughters, or going with your buddy on that type of hunt. You take those, you're not going to remember what that, I mean, even if using our stuff, you're not going to remember what that bird or that animal tasted like 20 years ago, but you're going to remember that hunt, and if you're just getting out to enjoy life, absolutely,
There's a million messages going through right now. That's what that beeping is. So sorry about that, but it's going to do it no matter what I do. So, man.
Well, there was something that you said a little bit ago, which was kind of interesting that I like from our perspective, from what, like you and I have done or do with our jobs. You said you're going to Iowa, you're going to hunt with your brother. You're not going to film that one. That's for you guys. Kind of along those lines of that's for you, not for us. I like that because a lot of the viewers who've seen like TV type shows or hunting type shows, there's a lot of work that goes into that for for those of us that have been in front or behind the camera that not everyone sees. And just to take that time out for you, for, family, that's pretty legit. Like, I just don't know why that just came back to that, but it's something I commend you on because you don't always have to pack the camera. And I think it was even Ike Eastman who told me one time, you want to, a perfect way to ruin a good hunt, bring a camera.
That is very true. That is very true. And I am blessed with being able to do what I love for a living. There's no doubt about that. And my job here at Eastman's and with Wingmen is not to hunt. It is much multifaceted. I mean, there's a lot more to it than that. That's what you see, is out doing the hunting and different things like that. And it's a blessing. It really is. There's no doubt about it. I'm not complaining, but I was hunting before this job, and I'll be hunting after this job, exactly. when I retire or if things change or whatever comes down the pipe, still going to be hunting. And it's something that was instilled in me at a young age, like I'm trying to do with my kids. And it's something that I love to do. And I was taking hunting vacations before I was doing this, sitting here at this editor's desk or doing podcasts.
Exactly.
And it's going to continue, and I'm not going to say there won't be a Tacticam on my gun barrel or a GoPro stuck in the leaves or by a decoy. But as far as going out and filming a show out of it, that's not the plan. The plan is to go on vacation, see grandmas and grandpas. We haven't been to, it kind of hit my wife and I that our girls, ask them about the house, grandma, grandpa's house, or this, that, and the other thing. They haven't seen their grandparents other than Skype, Zoom, Hangouts, Google, whatever it is. They haven't seen them. Not on my wife's side of the family. They haven't seen those people in like over a year and a half. So
Yeah.
over a year anyway. And they don't remember their great grandmas in Iowa. And so it's like time to make the trip.
Yep, exactly.
Time to make the trip. Yeah. We'll go, and it's going to be about family, winding down, spending some quality time, and we'll chase some turkeys in the mix too, because that's just what we do. That
just sounds like a perfect vacation. I mean, it's you've got opportunities for those girls to meet grandparents or great grandparents. Not everyone has, and yeah.
Well, I think you got to make that stuff happen. Like you guys, you're fortunate because you're. I think at least your family is right there in Riverton.
My family is, yep. We see her family a few times a year in Minnesota. So, I mean, obviously it's one of those, we'll make the effort. We're actually driving back in a month from now. We're driving back to Minnesota to go visit for a week. So
cool. Wow, good for you. Good for you. Oh man. Well, what do you have planned in the next few weeks?
Just plugging away here. Baby calves hitting the ground. That's about it. Building fence. That time of year, getting ready for all the spring, summer projects. Yeah, all the good stuff. Living in Wyoming for sure. How about you guys?
Yeah, no, same, dude. Same. Moving into a new house.
Oh, cool.
Getting that squared away, kind of like what you guys are saying. Got projects rolling with that, and getting that done. And then, like we said, getting turkey season ramping up. And I wish I was going on a snow goose hunt, but that didn't pan out this year. But you did one a couple of years ago.
I did. So we did one I've actually done two. I've done one in Watertown, South Dakota, and one in Missouri. And that's a whole new ball game. Being able to pull the plug from your gun. When those birds come in, it's not just, like Canadians coming in either a single to bigger flocks. When these things are coming in by the thousands when they're hitting the field, right? Finding the X. We had one day, we killed 102 snow geese.
Wow.
And we'll never forget it. The day was almost a bust. There was some miscommunication between our guide and the landowner. The landowner's grandpa, who owned the land, gave him permission. This grandson who farmed the land had given someone else permission. So we got run off. We had to take all the decoys and go find a different field. Oh. So yeah, we take all the guide's gear and everything. He's with us. He smooths it all over. We're great. I think we killed 20 birds or something. And we go to a different field that he'd been looking at. We get all set up. He's like, well, I've got to go do my daily, whatever, 4 or 5 hours. I'll be back. Feel free to run the collar, feel free to mess the decoys. So as soon as he left, we completely redid his entire setup. Like just, how we would hunt had it been us. He showed back up 3 hours later. He goes, how's it going? And we pointed the pile. We're at 92 birds. And, the look on his face was like, no freaking way, and it was like, yeah, we're 8 birds shy of 100. And it would have been their first 100 for the year. And he shows up, and then we're just sitting there talking BS, having a good time. And my buddy's son is laying in the blind. He was 14 years old at the time. We're like, man, what are we going to do? There's no birds. We want to get to 100. And he goes, hey, Dad, what about those? And they are dropping from the heavens on us. I mean, they had to be a mile in the air. And I don't know how they didn't see us or they just didn't care. And we dropped 14 birds on that pass. Not 14, sorry, 10 birds on that pass. And it was, yeah. I
can't believe your guide left you out there.
Apparently they have to go scout or nap or something during the day before they come out for an afternoon hunt, but we're allowed to stay if we want. Left all his gear, and we just said, cool. Yeah, we know what we're doing. We pretended, and it worked out. So yeah. Wow. Yeah,
that's not something you hear about very often, but there's been times that there was a morning in Oklahoma when there were other guys with us, and it was it didn't pan out the way we wanted it to.
Right.
And we had some guys that flaked out and didn't want to hunt, and we ended up pulling the plug. And I wish we wouldn't have, because as we're loading everything up, all the birds come in, and it would have been epic. It would have been absolutely epic. And hindsight's 2020. I should have said, nope, that's fine. You guys take off and go do your little patty cake thing, whatever it is.
Yep.
You can't be out here because it's windy and cold. So I don't know what the deal was, but
it's snow goose hunt. Yeah.
Yeah. And we were shooting little geese that morning, little Canadas and specks.
Oh, okay.
And but yeah, it's funny that you say that, because if I could have a do-over on that one, I'd have said, that's fine, you guys take off, we're staying.
Yep. And that's exactly what we did. We're like, we could go nap at the hotel, we could go out lunch. We said, you know what? We got this. We're here to hunt geese.
You're there to hunt. You're there to hunt. You can you can take a nap in the hotel, or you can take a nap in a layout blind.
That happened for sure. Yeah. And
it always happens, Brian. I mean, for crying out loud, I don't think I've been on a single hunt where there's layout blinds involved where somebody doesn't fall asleep. And subsequently gets buckled into their blind, or the blind gets zip tied shut, and it's take them, and they're.
I will say too, though, on those snow goose hunts, some of the experiences, being able to pull the plug, and so we bought extensions for our shotguns. 15 rounds in a shotgun is heavy.
Yeah.
You gotta pick that thing up and swing it, and then we got guys unloading all 15 rounds at every single pass. About shot 4 or 5, they're way out of range, and they're just blowing through rounds.
Right. But, I think that's the mystique behind, or the attraction behind snow goose hunting, is you just go out, and when you get big spins like that, and you get big groups, you're just dumping the plug, man. Taking it to the plug.
100%. I mean,
when else do you get to do that in waterfowling? You don't.
Correct. And that's the cool part. It's just like, oh man, and everyone's hooting, hollering, cheering, high-fiving afterwards. And it's one of those, I remember the number of birds from that day. I remember us just blowing through ammo, setting up the blind ourselves. But again, it's not necessarily about what we harvested, all the other memories that go in with it too. So
heck yeah.
No, there's
a lot of that, dude, where it's like the memories are the biggest thing. We talk about it on the big game side all the time, where and I'm gonna try to thin line here, because I've got a cooking guy on the podcast, but there's more to hunting than the food. There's more to hunting than turning what you shoot into food. And I commend this new movement out there, this field to fork movement, or field to plate movement, whatever you want to call it. I think it's great, because it's gotten a lot of people into hunting, and we need those people to continue hunting. We need that recruitment to recruit those folks, but we need them to stay as well.
Right.
And I think the longer they're in it, the more they see hunting's not just about food. Hunting is about you're feeding your stomach, but you're feeding your soul at the same time.
Right. It's kind of like on the lines of fishing.
Yes.
Because you're not always keeping everything you catch. I mean, you're throwing a lot of it back, and that's the thing with hunting. You can't throw it back, but it's the whole experience. It's I get up, we get up early in the morning to go hunt or fish, and it's dark 30 and you're tired, but I feel so rejuvenated after a stressful week of work. Instead of sleeping until 10 a.m., going and doing something like that. I mean, just getting out and just, completely
agree. And then the bonds that you form with people out there in the field, that goes beyond the goose jerky. That goes beyond the venison steak. I eat almost exclusively wild game. In my house, you come to my house, you open those freezers, and it's full of nothing but wild game. And that's what we eat. If you're eating meat at my house, it's wild game of some sort. Right. And I love it. I love the fact that it's healthy. I love the fact that it's sustainable, responsible, all that stuff. But if that's the only thing that we're hunting for, we're missing part of it. We're missing part of it.
Completely agree. I mean, it's just like a few weeks ago, I was in Powell, and I stopped in, not because we hunt together. I stopped in to see you guys, just to see you guys, because of prior events, prior things that we've done together, and work or not, yeah, that wasn't a work trip. That was a, hey, I'm gonna go see my buds kind of thing.
Right.
And
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. No, it's the same thing, where we talk about, oh, we got to get out more. We got to get out more. And yeah, it's great. We're going to bring some meat home with us, but we're going to bring home more than that too. I think about that duck hunt that we did that morning.
that was cold.
I don't think you probably ever floated that river in the dark like that.
No, I'm just glad you knew what you were doing in the dark, because that was, that was what, 4 guys, a dog, a ton of gear. And I'm pretty sure all of our waders everything had ice on it by the time we set up.
It was like 3 degrees that morning, 3 or 4 degrees. It was single digits.
Yeah.
It was single digits. In fact, it was so cold that the birds really didn't do much until middle of the day. If you remember right, we didn't start really getting into birds until the middle of the day, till it warmed up.
Correct. And one of my best memories from that hunt too, we were actually talking about it when we floated it last week, was Mackinac. Watching that dog work, that by far, because I have a pheasant dog that I had to retire, and I've taken him on numerous hunts. I don't remember the birds I shot. I remember working with the dogs. I remember working with my buddies. But watching those animals, especially work. You'd send him out, he would go downriver and bring it back to us, and it's just, and you could tell he was getting tired towards the end of it, but he was loving it. And he's like, all you got to do is say go, and he was ready to rock. And it just makes me think of my short hair. He's 13 now and he can no longer hunt. It's just those memories that I don't care if I killed a bird, but I'm out there with the dog that's loving being with me, loving what he does. Back to the same memories of your buddies. It all comes back to that for me.
No, you're right. You're right. It's funny you say that about Mackinac. We're putting together a new video right now, and I was just working through the rough cut on it. And there's some Mackinac footage, and Mackinac, this is his 9th hunting season this year. And he's a beast, man, but he's definitely a step slower. Was definitely a step slower this year. Needed a little more rest, but still out there getting it done. And I've got the new pup, Hondo, who's I'm working with him now that the weather's nice again, days are longer. I've actually got more time to rededicate. We're not just doing obedience. We're getting out in the field. We're doing some drills and things now. And I've got the old dog sitting there on the sidelines watching, and then I got the new dog who's learning. And it was interesting the other day. We're running drills. We're just running single retrieves in the river, getting him used to retrieving in the current. And Mac and I throw a couple bumpers for Hondo, and then Mac's right at my side at heel. I throw a bumper for Mac, and the difference in how they work the river current was astounding.
Really?
Mackinac, who's got the young dog, who's just pure energy and go, right?
Right.
And fighting that current. And then you got Mackinac, who literally I send him, and he takes a line, but he runs down the bank, gets a little below the bumper, then swims out and lets the bumper in the river current come to him. And then instead of turning upstream into the current, he just turns downstream with the current and doesn't try to beeline it for the bank, lets it take him, eddy out down the bank, and then comes back.
It's that experience.
That bumper that I threw, my young dog did the exact same thing.
I was just going to say, you've got the absolute perfect teacher for that young dog in Mackinac.
Well, trying. I think they learn a little bit from watching, but more than anything, it's just working them together and getting out there and getting the reps. But he picked up on that. He'd been turning upstream into the current, and it pushing on him, and expending way more energy than he needs to. And the next thing you know, he's turning downstream. He's not running the bank. He's still taking a line, which is fine. But and that's another thing, talking about dogs and these river dogs. You saw it with Mackinac, and I see it with lots of guys and different dogs, where you watch the dogs work on video, or you watch them do other things, and you're like, man, that dog's not taking a line, or that dog's not doing what it should be doing in an HRC, deal. You're going to learn real fast with your little one. Your days of training a dog or running around the countryside to hunt tests or doing those things, especially out here in Wyoming, where my closest hunt test is going to be in Billings or Casper or Bozeman. Right. that's not feasible. And so my dog might not be that perfect hunt test retriever, but he gets the job done. And that, to me, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a salty meat dog, man.
And it's a dog you've trained too. And
Yep.
and it's not just because we're on this podcast and we're friends. Like, I've hunted with numerous waterfowl dogs. There's, you can remember, hunts and stuff. Mackinac is by far the top dog I have ever hunted with.
Oh, I appreciate that.
We used to sponsor another waterfowl show years ago, and they came up to hunt with us. They had a dog that they brought over from Germany specifically for this TV show. Supposed to be, he made his stud fees somewhere in the $750,000 range, and he wasn't Mac, and you just think back to some of those hunts. Like, I've hunted with some bad dogs and I just go, oh, you're ruining the hunt. No, I shouldn't say bad dogs.
That's frustrating.
And I shouldn't say bad dogs. I should say poorly trained dogs. It's not the dog's fault.
Right.
I need to correct that. It's not the dog's fault. Poorly trained. But then there's a dog like Mackinac, and it's just one of those, like, the aha moment for me, because I've got a lab, but he's not a waterfowl dog. He's a family pet. Watching them work that day on the river, like, I know exactly what you're talking about on the retrieve, on how, especially as it got later in the day, he was a little tired, worn down because we hunted all day in cold weather, how he approached his retrieves versus getting in the water, go get it. He takes off hauling butt down the bank, sees the bird, then goes, gets it, floats a little farther down, gets on the, it's easier to walk on the land than it is to swim up current. And yeah, it's those, for me, hunts, especially for birds, the dog can really make or break a hunt for sure.
Right.
And
that's what I'm working on with Hondo, trying to get it so he doesn't break hunts. He's gonna be great. But he's definitely he's a hothead and a handful. But they're like, they're kind of like kids in the regard that they're no two are the same.
Right.
And I'm not, and I love the conversation I had with Barton Ramsey when I picked Hondo up last summer. Talked about, you shouldn't be expecting, I want a dog just like the one that I had.
Right.
That's like saying I want all my kids to be exactly alike. That's, you're missing out, and it's an impossibility.
And why would you want them to be? Especially for the, dogs are just like people. They've got their own personalities. Why would you want them to be exactly the same? Because when, God forbid someday we're not going to have our dogs that we're so near and dear to us that we've put this time to work into, we don't want the exact same thing, because then that memory of that dog that we've had for all those years would just suffer or fade or would go away, because it's like, oh, I just got him back,
Right.
And it's like, it's the experiences too that you're going to have with Hondo that you wouldn't have with Mac, and vice versa.
Right.
That you're going to stick to and learn and remember from these hunts versus, oh, we killed a limit that day. We killed, we're a bird shy of a limit on that hunt. That's not what you're going to remember. It's going to be the personalities, the quirks, the day you almost blew your lid because he made you so mad, whatever it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, I think Ernest Hemingway said it, and I'm going to butcher this quote, and I'm not even going to try to direct quote it, but Ernest Hemingway said, if you've shot one bird flying, you've shot all birds flying. There's different birds, there's different ways you hunt them, there's different things, but you're shooting a bird flying is the exact same, and it never gets old, basically, was his point. It's each one is special, each one is unique, but they're all similar. And a dog is a dog, right? A lab is a lab, but they're all unique, they're all similar. And like you said, to try to duplicate those experiences that I had with Mackinac is folly. I'm going to have my own experiences with Hondo, and I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, the training is ramping up again now, and it's a ton of fun. And hopefully next winter we can get you out and get you behind Hondo and see what you think.
Let's do it for sure, because like the conversation you and I had when I was there a few weeks ago, there's one tag that I am not putting in for this year because I do not want to draw it again. So we will make sure that's available.
Yeah, dude, your bison hunt was a butt kicker.
Oh my gosh. Like, I've got a photo of the one that I killed 2 years ago sitting here on my desk, and the weather dependency on those wild bison is nuts. You have a season that's what, August 15th to January
it's long.
3rd. Long, right? So you think no big deal. You should fill all the tags. But where are the bison until about December 29th?
In Yellowstone.
Right. Federal lands that you cannot hunt. And bison have a gigantic coat on them. It takes a lot of snow to move them out. You do get a few here and there that come out early, older bulls, calves that have been kicked out or something for whatever reason. But oh my gosh, yes. This year, I mean, I got a phone call from the guide service I was using. Oh, get over here. They're here. I leave, got there 2.5 hours later. Oh, they've already been blown out by other hunters. It's just kind of one of those things. And it's just, I mean, short of the fact that they're wild, doing one of those farm hunts that they're 10,000 acres for those animals to run and hide on, they're very similar, you know, and you get into the cost aspect of it, like we just talked about with fuel costs and everything else. The experience of the hunt is what I'm going to remember. This one, I've done it twice my time. I'm going to remember whether I harvested or not, sure.
Right.
But the experiences that I went through on that hunt were some of those, it's like, they were good learning curves. They were great experiences. I'm always going to hold near and dear. But again, it's like, I don't want to do that again. So.
Yeah. Well, maybe this year you'll have some time because you're not going to be hunting bison. You'll have some time to actually come and hunt some ducks and geese with us.
That'd be fun. Absolutely. Come run over the hill. We're 2 hours apart and we don't get to hunt together enough or
Dude,
fish together.
It's crazy. Wyoming's an interesting state. The West is interesting because it's so diverse and there's so much ground out here that is barren of waterfowl. Like there's nothing. And then there's pockets where it's good. And yeah, you live in a pocket where it's good. I live in a pocket where it's good. There's a pocket that lies between us. And other than that, it's like people ask, well, I want to come to Wyoming and hunt waterfowl. Okay.
You got to know somebody.
There's 2 spots, you know, and by spots, I mean, there's 2 regions, 2 areas that have waterfowl, and that's it. Montana's got more than what we have, but man, it's
public
tough.
access too. That's a big thing. A lot of these birds are not on public areas where you can hunt. I mean, that hunt we did a couple years ago, there was one spot that we could stop that was public, and that was it. Other than that, you either have to know the landowner, have a lease, or own it yourself. Right.
And it's as the game's definitely changing. The old knock on door days they still exist, but it's tougher. It's gotten a lot tougher, and it's everywhere. I hear it from all over the country, whether it's the guys down south or in the Midwest or out here. It's tougher, but yeah, I don't know, man. We will definitely have to get together and do something. That's for sure.
I agree. I absolutely agree.
Well, I got a couple more questions for you, and then I'll let you go because 5 o'clock's not somewhere; it's here now. So you got family to get home to, and so do I. But I got to go home and cook antelope backstrap with some Hi Mountain Seasonings for supper.
Attaboy. See, I'm on the opposite. Yeah,
what?
I'm going out. Yeah.
Go ahead. No, what were you should say?
Oh, I'm saying no. I'm on the opposite. I got a kind of a planning meeting for that fishing tournament we're putting on, so we're going out to dinner tonight. So
that'll be fun.
One night I don't have to do dishes. So.
There you go. What's your favorite Hi Mountain product?
Jalapeno summer sausage.
Yeah.
Hands down. I use antelope to make it. 2-to-1 ratio antelope to pork. Jalapeno summer sausage kit. Add in high temperature cheddar cheese. I smoke it for the first half of the instructions and finish it in the oven.
Pro tip.
Yep. So for me, I don't like a super strong smoke flavor.
Yeah.
I like a little bit. So that's why I finish it in the oven and don't do it in the smoker the whole way.
Got it.
I can't bring that stuff into the office because it doesn't last.
Oh, I bet.
Right. And it's an antelope right there. Antelope. Summer sausage is great with all kinds of meat, duck, goose, everything. Antelope, I'm telling you right now, phenomenal.
My antelope don't make it into grind. They get eaten before that happens.
They're good.
Oh, they are. They are incredible. But I'm going to end you with this question.
Yeah.
If you could only hunt one bird one way, what's it going to be?
I'm going to go with pheasant right now, and that's just because it's going to include my bird dog that I currently have. Because if I had to choose one thing to hunt forever, not even just a bird, it'd be pheasants with him.
Okay. It's funny, man. I try to ask that question of almost every guest, and it seems like everybody's got a different response. A couple of guys said pheasants. You know, a lot of guys say, "Oh, I want to hunt." It'd be mallards in a cornfield, or mallards in flooded timber, or honkers in a barley stubble field, or whatever it might be. But that's interesting. That's interesting. You guys have got pretty good pheasant hunting down there.
It's not too bad. It's improved over the years with a lot of the big time predator hunters and stuff going. We have the Wyoming best of the best, and just predation type stuff has become another avenue for hunting that it's really helped, because it put a hurt on the bird numbers down here for the longest time. But
you're man, we have another podcast now called Predator Pros, and with Jeff Nimnick, and he was gracious enough to have me on. We were talking predator hunting, and I honestly think that we talk up the North American model of wildlife conservation a lot, and rightly so, because we've brought species like pronghorn, for example, and wild turkeys literally back from the brink of extinction.
Right.
And it's because of the North American model of wildlife conservation, right? But one aspect of that model that we don't do is we don't control predators in this country the way that they do in Europe. And I mean everything from birds of prey down to weasels and raccoons and whatever it might be. And you can definitely tell, I'm out running around here at springtime and the pheasants are out running around doing their thing. Man, there's a hawk on every 10th power pole. There's a hawk there. And those pheasants, I don't know how any of them survive, to be real honest. And I'm not saying we need to start busting hawks left and right, because it's illegal. That is not what I'm advocating for here. What I'm saying is there's another model to wildlife conservation out there that exists in Europe, where they do control avian predators especially, and but they don't have public hunting like we do. They don't have, the animals aren't in public trust. They belong to the property owner. It's totally different. Right. But I guess my point with that is, it's amazing to me when you start managing predators, how quickly that adds up, how quickly your bird populations can rebound, especially pheasants.
Yep. No, you're 100% right. Like I said, as a kid growing up here, it was tough to find wild birds. So it was always the Game and Fish stocked properties. And they're like, no joke, you're right. Even like out where I live, there's not many pheasants, but if there's a pheasant around, I bet you look, there's some sort of bird of prey not far away.
Yep.
It's all too true. And again, I'm with you. I'm not saying that's what we need to hunt or, limit those, but there's definitely something to think about when it comes to numbers and why they are where they are.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. And you have years with easy winters. You guys have had a mild winter. We've had a mild winter here. Parts of Wyoming have gotten pounded, but as a general rule, this around for us, winter's been easy. And so we've had birds of prey. This is as far south as they've come. They migrate right along with the waterfowl. And yeah, it's pretty crazy. But well, Brian, I'm gonna, before we get too far off in that in those weeds, I'm gonna say
going for a while.
Oh, dude, yeah, absolutely. But I want to say thank you for being on the podcast.
Oh, I enjoyed it, man.
And good luck with that little one that's on the way. I'm excited to see how you handle being a daddy. I think you're gonna be great.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Like you said, thanks for having me on. Enjoy the partnership. And partnership or not, like I said, these are the kind of conversations you and I'd be having. Hi Mountain Seasoning or not, same kind of thing. It's I hope everyone who listened to us enjoyed it. It's one of those, it's just two dudes who enjoy what we do, and just, you got to take every advantage you can in life.
There you go. Two Dudes Podcast, brought to you by Wingmen and Hi Mountain Seasoning. I love it.
There you go.
Cool, man. Have a good night. I'll talk to you later.
Sounds good. Later, brother.